My child, I know the nights when you stare at the ceiling and wonder why love feels so close and yet so far away. I know the ache in your chest when you have given your heart, your prayers, your trust, and what came back felt confusing, delayed, or even like betrayal. I know the quiet humiliation of asking yourself if you missed something, if you chose wrong, if you were too hopeful, too loyal, too easy to believe. I know the way loneliness can sit on your shoulders like a stone, especially when everyone around you seems to be pairing off, building something, posting smiles that do not tell the whole story. And I know the deeper wound, beloved, the one you rarely admit out loud, the fear that maybe you were never meant to be chosen at all. That fear has been whispering to you in the dark. It has dressed itself up like wisdom. It has told you to settle for whatever looks promising. It has told you to keep watching every sign, every number, every post, every accidental meeting, every feeling in your chest, as if your peace depends on decoding the universe. And when the waiting got too heavy, you started looking anywhere you could for answers. You looked into manifestation. You looked into timing. You looked for the right energy. You looked for luck. You looked for a word from someone else who seemed more certain than you felt. You looked for hidden meanings in everything, because your heart was desperate to believe that if you could just figure out the pattern, you could protect yourself from disappointment. But my child, what you have been calling intuition has often been fear wearing a spiritual mask. What you have been calling destiny has sometimes been nothing more than longing trying to lead. And what you have been calling your soulmate may not be what it seems. I am speaking to you now because I love you too much to let you keep reaching for a counterfeit and calling it peace. I love you too much to let you build your heart on a lie. There is a truth coming to light, and it is not just about another person. It is about what has been hidden, what has been mislabeled, what has been disguised by charm, timing, chemistry, and longing. And yes, beloved, I am about to expose it. You have been asking me for clarity, but your heart has been divided. Part of you wants my answer. Part of you wants confirmation for what you already hoped was true. That is why the waiting has felt so heavy. Not because I am cruel, not because I am absent, but because I will not bless confusion just because you are lonely. I will not anoint what I did not send. I will not call holy what heaven has not endorsed. I will not let a counterfeit sit on the throne of your affection while you pray over it as if prayer can make deception become truth. I see the one you keep thinking about. I see the one you keep replaying in your mind. I see the one whose words you keep analyzing and whose silence you keep excusing. I see the messages you have read too many times, the conversations you have tried to revive, the moments you have romanticized because you needed them to mean something. I see how badly you want a story that makes sense. I see how you have tried to convince yourself that the delay is only divine timing, that the distance is only a test, that the inconsistency is only fear, that the confusion is only because the connection is deep. But my child, not every intense connection is a divine connection. Not every open door is a God door. Not every strong feeling is a sign from me. The enemy understands desire. The enemy knows how to exploit wounds. He knows how to attach hope to people who cannot carry your future. He knows how to make a person seem sent when they are only convenient. He knows how to use almost love to keep you from receiving real love. He knows how to use emotional hunger to make you ignore the warnings I already placed in your spirit. And that is why I am speaking plainly. Because some of you are not just waiting for a spouse. You are waiting for an explanation. You are waiting for the truth behind the one who called themselves your soulmate. You are waiting to know whether the person you have been defending in your mind is who they said they were. You are waiting to know whether the tenderness was real, whether the promises were honest, whether the affection was clean, whether the connection you felt was heaven or simply a trap wrapped in sweetness. Beloved, I know the pain of realizing that someone you trusted may have been presenting one face while hiding another. I know what it feels like when your spirit starts noticing little fractures you tried to overlook. The inconsistency, the secrecy, the way they were available when they wanted something, but absent when you needed stability. The way their words were beautiful, but their fruit was unstable. The way they could speak of forever while living like commitment was optional. The way they drew you in with depth, but never gave you peace. You did not imagine those contradictions. You did not invent those unsettled feelings. You may have been trying to explain away what I was trying to reveal. Listen to me carefully, my child. I am not revealing this truth to shame you. I am revealing it to free you. Shame says, you should have known better. Grace says, "Come closer, and let me show you what was hidden." Shame says, "You failed." Truth says, "You were longing, and longing made you vulnerable." Shame says, "You missed your chance." I say I am not late, and I have not lost you. There is a reason you have been restless. There is a reason the peace did not stay. There is a reason the chemistry did not turn into trust. There is a reason the relationship, situation, or pursuit kept circling without settling into something solid. I know you may have called it spiritual warfare, and in part, it is. I know you may have called it divine timing, and in part, there is timing involved. But there is also discernment, and discernment is what has been under attack. Because if the enemy can blur your discernment, he can keep you emotionally tied to something I never intended for you to carry. You have been asking for a sign, but you already have one. The confusion itself is a sign. The peace leaving is a sign. The repeated instability is a sign. The inner shrinking of your spirit every time you try to force a conclusion is a sign. I do not author confusion. I do not lead my children into obsession. I do not require you to betray your own peace just to keep a relationship alive. My child, you have been taught by pain to confuse intensity with intimacy. You have been taught by disappointment to grab quickly whenever something looks promising. You have been taught by abandonment to stay too long, because leaving feels like losing your last chance. But I am teaching you something different now. I am teaching you to measure by fruit, not by fantasy. I am teaching you to judge by peace, not by pressure. I am teaching you to wait for what is clear, not chase what is uncertain. And yes, the truth behind your soulmate is about to come out. Some of you are realizing that the person you thought was your person was never fully available to begin with. Their heart was divided. Their intentions were mixed. Their promises were ahead of their character. Their affection was real enough to hook you, but not pure enough to hold you. That is a hard truth, my beloved, because it forces you to grieve not just the person, but the future you imagined with them. It forces you to admit that you were in love with possibility as much as with reality. It forces you to see that what you wanted could have been beautiful, but what was actually happening was not safe. And some of you are sensing something even deeper. You are sensing that there were things deliberately hidden from you. Other relationships, private habits, double lives, secret motives, a pattern of dishonesty that you only caught in glimpses. I am not saying this to stir fear. I am saying it because I am the God who brings hidden things into the light. I do not allow darkness to stay buried forever. I expose what must be exposed so my children do not continue building their lives on deception. You may have wondered why. The truth did not come sooner. You may have prayed, "Lord, if this is wrong, show me." And maybe the answer did not come in the form you expected. Maybe there were small warnings. Maybe there were uneasy moments. Maybe there were confirmations you overlooked because you wanted the relationship to survive. I understand that, beloved. I understand how easy it is to call something love when it is really hope fighting for its life. I understand how tempting it is to ignore a red flag when your heart is already attached. I understand how loneliness can make even a warning feel negotiable. But I am not exposing this truth to mock your attachment. I am exposing it to protect your future. Because what you do not see now could wound you later. What looks like a soulmate may actually be a soul tie. What feels like destiny may be a distraction. What seems like a once-in-a-lifetime love may be a lesson that was never meant to become a lifelong covenant. I need you to hear this with all of your heart. Not every person who enters your life is assigned to stay. Some come to reveal what still needs healing. Some come to reveal what you have been willing to tolerate. Some come to reveal where your identity has become tied to being chosen. Some come to reveal the places where you have been asking another human being to give you what only I can give you. That is not condemnation. That is mercy. Because when I expose the truth, I am also exposing the wound beneath the wound. The real pain is not only, was this my soulmate? The real pain is, why did I feel so empty that I needed this to be true? The real pain is, why did I ignore myself? The real pain is, why does being alone terrify me so much? And my child, I am not offended by those questions. I am near to them. I am the God who heals the reason you were willing to settle for less. The enemy has been fighting you on two fronts. First, by making you doubt what you saw. Second, by making you crave what you lost. That combination is dangerous. It can keep you circling around someone who never had the capacity to love you well. It can keep you romanticizing a connection that was really built on fragments. It can keep you praying for restoration when what I am actually preparing is revelation. Some of you have been waiting for the other person to change. You keep thinking, if only they would become consistent, if only they would open up, if only they would choose me boldly, if only they would tell the truth, everything would make sense. But beloved, I am not only concerned with whether they could change. I am concerned with whether you should still be standing there waiting for them to become who you needed all along. There is a difference. My child, I know how deep your hope runs. Hope is precious when it is anchored in me. But hope becomes dangerous when it is tied to denial. There is a kind of hoping that is faith, and there is a kind of hoping that is refusal to grieve. I am inviting you out of the second and into the first, because faith can let go and still trust me. Denial cannot. Faith can say, Lord, if you close this door, I will believe you have something better. Denial says, Lord, just make this person become what my heart wants. One is surrender. The other is control dressed up as prayer. And now, child, I want to tell you something that may sting before it heals. The truth behind your soulmate may reveal that you were not only dealing with another person's confusion, but with your own false hope. You may have been seeing the best version of them in your mind while ignoring the pattern in front of you. You may have been treating potential like proof. You may have been calling attraction a covenant. You may have been trying to manufacture destiny from chemistry. That is why peace never settled all the way down. That is why your spirit kept waking up at night. That is why the relationship could not move from longing into rest. I am not angry with you, my child. I am patient with you. But I am also honest with you. And honesty is love when deception has been feeding on your heart. There are moments when I allow the mask to slip just enough for you to notice. A strange inconsistency. A message that does not match the story. A pattern you cannot unsee once you see it. A conversation that exposes what was hidden under charm. That is not me trying to embarrass you. That is me trying to save you from building an altar around something that cannot carry your soul. You do not need more signs to keep chasing the wrong thing. You need courage to face what your spirit already knows. Some of you feel guilty because you still miss them. You think if you truly trusted me, you would not hurt this much. But grief is not proof that something was right. Grief is proof that something mattered. And something can matter deeply and still not be meant for you. That is a hard truth, but it is a liberating one. Because it means your pain does not invalidate your discernment. It means your tears do not prove the relationship was ordained. It means you can mourn and still obey. I am asking you to prepare your heart for the kind of truth that clears the fog. It may come through a conversation. It may come through a hidden detail being revealed. It may come through a pattern finally repeating one too many times. It may come through a door shutting that you kept trying to keep open. However it comes, know this. I am the one behind the exposure, because I am the one who loves you enough to interrupt your illusion. You thought the delay was punishment. It was protection. You thought the silence was rejection. It was restraint. You thought the confusion meant you were failing. It meant something was being revealed slowly. You thought the other person was holding the key to your future. But I have always held that key, my beloved. And because I hold it, I can unlock what is real and close what is false. I can separate desire from destiny. I can separate charm from character. I can separate your hunger from your calling. I can separate the one who was sent by emotion from the one who is sent by heaven. That is what is happening now. So breathe, my child. Do not panic when the truth starts rising. Do not harden your heart when you discover that what looked beautiful was built on shaky ground. Do not call yourself foolish for wanting love. I am not shaming your desire for companionship. I created you for relationship, for covenant, for tenderness, for being known. But I will not let your hunger make you easy prey. I will not let the enemy use your longing to lead you into bondage. This exposure is not the end of your love story. It is the end of the lie. And sometimes, beloved, that is the greatest mercy I can give you. Stay with me, because there is more. The truth that is coming will explain the ache you have been carrying, and it will show you why I have been pulling you back, even when your emotions kept leaning forward. It will reveal why some doors felt magnetic but never peaceful. It will reveal why certain people could not stay honest with you. It will reveal why your heart has felt both hopeful and haunted. And once you see it clearly, you will understand that I was never depriving you. I was preserving you. My child, the exposure is coming. The hidden motive, the concealed pattern, the real condition of what you thought was love, It is all about to come into the light. And when it does, I need you to be ready. Not ready to fight me. Ready to trust me. Not ready to cling tighter. Ready to release. Not ready to beg for what was never clean. Ready to receive what is pure. I am still writing your story, beloved, but I will not let a counterfeit chapter become your ending. My child, I know why you were vulnerable to this. I know why the wrong person looked right for a while. I know why your discernment felt cloudy when your heart was starving for peace. It was not because you are weak in the way the enemy has accused you of being. It was because you have been carrying too much for too long. Fear wore you down. Pressure wore you down. Disappointment wore you down. And when a heart is worn down, it starts reaching for anything that feels like relief. You were not only looking for love. You were looking for safety. You were looking for a place where you could finally exhale. You were looking for someone who would not abandon you, not confuse you, not leave you holding all the weight alone. That need did not come from nowhere, beloved. It came from the places where trust was broken in your life. It came from the times you were let down by people who should have protected you. It came from the years when you had to become strong before you were ready. It came from the hidden tears you cried when nobody saw how much you were carrying. And because your heart has known abandonment, it became easier to cling to anyone who seemed steady, even if they were not truly stable. Because you have known betrayal, it became easier to excuse red flags if the person also gave you moments of tenderness. Because you have known disappointment, it became easier to settle for a partial answer than to face another painful letdown. That is why this mattered so deeply. Not just because you wanted a soulmate, but because you wanted relief from the ache. My child, some of you were also under financial pressure, and you do not talk about that enough. You were trying to figure out bills, responsibility, work, family needs, and the fear of not having enough. And when money gets tight, people often start making emotional decisions under stress. You begin to think, if this relationship works, maybe everything will stabilize. Maybe I will not have to do this alone. Maybe love will make the rest of life easier. But I need you to hear me. I never called your partner to be your provider in the way your fear imagined. I never meant for you to marry or attach yourself to someone just because survival felt urgent. I know the pressure you were under. I know the nights you laid awake calculating what would happen if things did not improve. I know the moments you felt embarrassed by your own need. I know the way financial strain can make an offer of security look like destiny. But my child, desperation can blur wisdom. Pressure can make convenience feel like calling. And fear can make you mistake rescue for love. That is one reason I am exposing the truth now. Because if your decisions are being made under pressure instead of peace, you will call something a blessing that cannot sustain you. You will call a lifeline a life partner. You will call the one who promises comfort your answered prayer, even if their character cannot support the role you have placed on them. I am not condemning you for wanting help. I am warning you not to let fear choose for you. And I also know about pride. Yes, beloved, even the humble can struggle with pride when they have suffered enough. Pride does not always look like arrogance. Sometimes it looks like insisting you can fix what is broken because admitting otherwise would mean you were wrong. Sometimes pride looks like staying silent when you should have spoken. Sometimes pride looks like over-explaining, over-giving, over-forgiving, because you do not want to face the fact that you invested in the wrong place. Sometimes pride says, if I leave now, I will feel foolish. So you stay, not because it is healthy, but because you do not want the humiliation of starting over. I see that in you, my child, and I do not say it to shame you. I say it because I want you free. There are times when what keeps a person trapped is not just fear of loneliness, but fear of being seen as someone who misjudged. Fear of admitting you ignored your own peace. Fear of saying out loud, I wanted this more than I wanted the truth. That kind of honesty is painful, but it is where healing begins. You have been carrying all of that into your relationships, and the enemy has been taking advantage of it. He knows how to whisper, you will not find better. He knows how to press on the wound of scarcity. He knows how to make a half-truth feel like mercy. He knows how to exploit a person who wants so badly to believe that this time will be different. But I am the Lord over your past, your present, and your future. I am not surprised by your vulnerabilities, and I am not defeated by them. Look at Job, my child. Job was faithful, but he was also human. He had loss upon loss. Everything seemed to unravel. He did not understand why his world was shaking. He sat in grief and confusion, and yet I was still writing a story no suffering could cancel. The enemy wanted Job to believe that pain meant abandonment, but I was still there. I was still sovereign. I was still setting limits on what darkness could do. And in the end, the truth was not that Job was forgotten. The truth was that I had purposes deeper than what he could see. I did this for him, and I am doing it for you. You may not understand why the shaking had to happen. You may not understand why the relationship had to unravel, why the illusion had to crack, why the comfort had to be interrupted. But Job did not understand either. He only knew that what once felt solid was now falling apart. And still, I remained faithful. I did not allow the enemy to destroy what was mine. I did not allow the pain to become the final word. I did not allow the accusations to define Job's identity. I brought him through. And Joseph, beloved, think about Joseph. His brothers betrayed him. The people closest to him sold him out. He was misunderstood, mishandled, abandoned into a pit that he did not choose. Then he was carried into seasons that looked like punishment, but were actually preparation. He was in slavery before he was in leadership. He was in prison before he was in position. And through it all, I was not absent. I was shaping character where nobody could see. I was building wisdom in hidden places. I was preserving the very life that others tried to bury. I did this for him, and I am doing it for you. Joseph could have interpreted every delay as rejection. He could have assumed that because his circumstances were painful, his purpose was gone. But I had a plan that went deeper than the betrayal. I had a destiny that outlasted the lie. I used what others meant for harm to position him for what I meant for good. And that is exactly what I am doing in your life right now. The exposure, the delay, the disappointment, the door closing, the truth surfacing, these are not random. I am aligning what the enemy tried to misdirect. I am stripping away false attachments so you do not carry them into your future. And David, my child, David was anointed, but he was not immediately enthroned. He was chosen, but he still had to walk through wilderness. He knew what it was to be hunted, overlooked, and pressured by enemies. He knew what it was to be surrounded by chaos while still being called by me. And when David stumbled, when he sinned, when he misused power, I did not abandon him. I corrected him. I restored him. I brought him to repentance and back to humility. Why? Because I was after his heart, not just his comfort. I did this for him, and I am doing it for you. Some of you are being taught that not every desire should be acted on immediately. Not every attraction should be fed. Not every open door should be walked through. David's life is proof that even the chosen can make costly mistakes when desire outpaces discernment. But it is also proof that my mercy is greater than failure when a heart returns to me. So if you are looking back and feeling regret, do not let regret turn into self-hatred. Let it turn into wisdom. Let it turn into surrender. Let it turn into a deeper dependence on me. And Moses, beloved, Moses was called, but he was also hesitant. He had fear in his bones. He had a history. He had a past he could not outrun. He saw himself as inadequate, slow of speech, unable to lead well enough for the task. I used Moses anyway. I met him in the wilderness. I spoke through his fear. I sent him into a situation that looked impossible because I am the God who makes a way where there is no way. Moses did not need to be perfect. He needed to be available. He needed to listen. He needed to trust that I could speak through weakness. I did this for him, and I am doing it for you. You may feel like your past disqualifies you from healthy love. You may feel like your trust issues make you too complicated. You may feel like your age, your history, your mistakes, your scars have made you hard to love. But Moses teaches you that I do not call the qualified. I qualify the called. I do not wait for your fear to disappear before I lead you. I meet you inside it and guide you through it. My child, the reason these traps worked, at least for a season, is because they were touching real needs. The enemy rarely offers something that looks obviously evil. He usually offers a version of what you already ache for. He offers comfort without covenant. He offers intimacy without integrity. He offers relief without righteousness. He offers just enough tenderness to keep you invested. And if your heart is hungry, that can feel like a miracle. But now the veil is lifting. You are seeing that some of what you called hope was actually survival instinct. Some of what you called attraction was emotional relief. Some of what you called the one was simply the first person who made you feel seen in a season when you felt invisible. That matters. I am not minimizing what it meant to your heart. I am explaining why it was so easy for deception to wrap itself around your longing. And I also want to speak to the part of you that feels embarrassed because you thought you were stronger than this. You thought you had more discernment. You thought you would never fall for this kind of thing. You thought you knew better. But humility is not pretending you are immune to temptation. Humility is admitting that everyone needs grace, including the wise. Everyone needs protection, including the intuitive. Everyone needs me, including the one who thought they had enough insight to navigate this alone. Beloved, when you went looking for signs, I understood the desperation. When you asked the universe, when you tried to manifest, when you kept checking repeated numbers or random coincidences, I understood what was really happening. You were not rebelling because you hated me. You were reaching because you felt alone. You were trying to grab certainty from the air because your heart wanted something solid. But signs without surrender become superstitions. They become noise. They can even become bait for spiritual confusion. I am not a God of confusion. I am a God of clarity, conviction, and peace. When I guide, I do not scramble your spirit. When I confirm, I do not require you to become obsessive. When I open a door, I do not make you beg it to stay open. What I send carries my peace, and peace does not need to be forced. So if your body has been tense, if your mind has been looping, if your prayers have become frantic, if your heart has been swinging between hope and dread, pay attention. That unrest is not a small thing. It is a signal. It is a mercy. It is me saying, do not ignore what you know. You have learned how to survive by overriding yourself, by explaining away your concerns, by making room for everyone else's comfort while sacrificing your own clarity. But I am teaching you a new way. I am teaching you to honor the alarm I placed inside you. There is a line coming, my child, between what was permitted for a time and what is no longer permitted to continue. You feel it already. You feel the shift. Some of you have been trying to keep something alive that I am already allowing to die. That sounds painful because it is painful. But death is not always destruction. Sometimes it is deliverance. Sometimes the thing that must die is the fantasy. Sometimes the thing that must die is the lie. Sometimes the thing that must die is the version of the story you created to survive the waiting. And while that is happening, I am also exposing the deeper reason you wanted this connection so badly. It was never just about romance. It was about identity. It was about being chosen. It was about being enough. It was about finally hearing, you are not too much, and you are not too late, and you are not forgotten. My child, I am the only one who can speak that over you with perfect truth. No partner, no soulmate, no romantic fulfillment can carry the weight of your identity. If you ask a person to give you what only I can give, they will fail you, even if they mean well. That is why I am healing the places that made you reach too quickly. I am healing the fear that says, if I do not secure this now, I will lose my chance. I am healing the poverty of spirit that says, I need this person to make life bearable. I am healing the broken trust that keeps you hyper-vigilant and afraid to relax. I am healing the pride that keeps you from asking for help, from confessing, from saying, I was wrong, and I need you to lead me now. My child, I am not asking you to be ashamed of your story. I am asking you to let me rewrite it. The truth behind your soulmate is not just about exposing a person. It is about exposing the places in you that made that person seem necessary. And when I do that, I am not taking away your future. I am clearing space for it. You will understand later why I let certain things go on long enough for you to see the pattern. You will understand later why the same issue kept surfacing, why the same discomfort kept returning, why the same contradiction kept showing up in different forms. I was teaching you to recognize fruit. I was training your spirit to pay attention. I was separating your hope from your hearing. I was showing you how to tell the difference between what feels alive and what is actually life-giving. I know you have questions. I know you have doubts. I know a part of you still wants me to say, no, you were right all along. That person is your person. But I love you enough to tell you the truth, even if it breaks the version of the story you wanted. And I promise you, my child, the truth will not break you. It will only break the spell. So stay near. Do not run from what is being exposed. Do not rush to replace one illusion with another. Let me keep speaking into the places where fear, pressure, broken trust, and pride tried to steer your heart. Let me show you where I was present in your pain. Let me show you that the same God who was with Job, Joseph, David, and Moses is with you now. I did this for him, and I am doing it for you. My child, I need you to come a little closer in your heart right now, because I am speaking to the part of you that has been exhausted by life itself. Not just tired in the ordinary way. I mean the kind of tired that comes after job loss shakes your confidence. The kind of tired that comes after divorce rearranges everything you thought was permanent. The kind of tired that comes after illness sits in your body or in your family and reminds you that control was never really yours. The kind of tired that comes after betrayal, after a phone call, after a text message, after finding out the person you trusted was not who they claimed to be. The kind of tired that leaves you staring at the same ceiling night after night, wondering how much more your heart can hold. I see those nights, beloved. I see the lamp left on because darkness feels too heavy. I see the phone in your hand even though nobody is answering. I see the stack of bills on the table. I see the unopened mail. I see the silence in the house. I see the way grief can make a room feel bigger and colder than it used to. I see you sitting in the car before going inside, because you do not have the strength to face one more conversation, one more burden, one more explanation. And I know that when life gets like that, the soul starts bargaining. You begin saying, Lord, if I could just have one stable relationship, I could survive this. If I could just meet the right one, maybe I would stop feeling so shaken. If I could just believe this is my soulmate, then maybe the pain means something. My child, I understand the bargaining. I understand the desperate hope behind it. But I also know how pain can make you attach your future to the nearest promise. That is why I am slowing this moment down for you. I am not in a hurry, even if your heart feels panicked. I am not racing against your fear. I am not intimidated by the timeline that has you worried. I am not looking at your circumstances and wondering how this will work. I already know how it will work, and I am already working. But there is something I need you to know before I say anything else. The delay you thought was denial was not denial. The pause you thought meant I forgot you was not forgetting. The season you thought was empty was not empty at all. It was preparation. It was the hidden workshop of heaven. It was the quiet room where I was strengthening what you could not yet see. What you called waiting, I called shaping. What you called loss, I called clearing. What you called delay, I called development. I know that changes the way you look at everything. I know it. Because when you have been crying over the same unanswered prayer, it is hard to believe that silence has purpose. When you have watched other people move into the very thing you wanted, it is hard not to feel overlooked. When you have seen doors close one after another, it is hard not to assume your life is stuck. But my child, the truth is that I have been preparing you in ways you did not recognize, because preparation rarely looks glamorous while it is happening. Look at a seed buried in the ground. To the natural eye, it looks hidden. It looks like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. Strength is gathering. The future is taking shape where nobody can clap for it yet. That has been your life, beloved. Not wasted, not forgotten, hidden, rooted, strengthened, prepared. Some of you are thinking, Lord, if this was preparation, why did it hurt so much? Because preparation often happens in the very places where your old self must die. It is painful to outgrow versions of yourself that once felt necessary. It is painful to have your illusions stripped away. It is painful to realize that the strength you thought you had was actually survival. It is painful to find out that the relationship you were holding up could not stand on truth. But pain does not mean I was absent. Pain often means I was reaching deeper than comfort ever could. You needed to be prepared for what you were praying for. That is the part you could not see. You were asking me for love, but I was also preparing your capacity. You were asking me for a covenant, but I was also preparing your discernment. You were asking me for a spouse, but I was also preparing your identity so you would not lose yourself in the waiting or in the receiving. I had to prepare the person who would be able to recognize the real thing, because you had already been through too many almosts. And yes, my child, I know some of you have been through serious losses that changed your body, your mind, and your trust. You have walked through divorce and felt like your whole life was rewritten without your permission. You have endured diagnoses that made you ask whether tomorrow would even look normal. You have sat in family conflict, in legal battles, in custody issues, in the aftermath of someone else's choices, and you have been asked to stay strong for everyone else while your own heart was cracking. That kind of suffering changes the way you hear my voice. It makes you suspicious of hope. It makes you braced for disappointment. It makes you feel like if you expect too much, you will only be hurt again. I know all of it. And because I know it, I have been preparing you for a love that will not collapse under pressure, a truth that will not disappear when things get difficult, and a future that will not depend on another person pretending to be what they are not. I am not just preparing a relationship. I am preparing you for peace that lasts. You have been asking why it took so long. I am answering you now. It took longer because I was not only working on the external situation, I was working on you. And that is good news, even if it felt like silence. Because if I had given you the thing too soon, before you were ready, you might have misread it, rushed it, idolized it, or used it to cover a wound I was trying to heal. I love you too much to hand you a blessing that would become a burden, because your heart had not been healed enough to carry it. Think about Joseph again. If I had placed him in Pharaoh's palace before the pit, before the prison, before the betrayal, before the hidden years, he would not have had the depth to steward the moment. The delay was not waste. The delay was alignment. The delay gave him character that could hold authority. The delay gave him humility that could handle elevation. The delay gave him wisdom that could save nations when famine came. I was not punishing him by waiting. I was preparing him to survive the very assignment he was born for. I did this for him, and I am doing it for you. Some of you have been in a version of prison too. Not always a literal one, but a spiritual one, an emotional one, a season where you felt stuck behind what other people could not see. You were doing the right thing, trying to heal, trying to be faithful, trying to forgive, trying to wait, but everything around you still looked like delay. That prison season taught Joseph how to interpret dreams, how to steward favor, how to wait without losing identity. Your waiting has been teaching you too. It has been showing you what you do when nobody is clapping, what you do when nobody is rescuing, what you do when all you have is trust. And this is why your pain has felt so personal. Because I was not just trying to get you somewhere. I was trying to make sure what you receive does not destroy you. A house without preparation can become a burden. A relationship without healing can become another battlefield. A promotion without character can become corruption. A spouse without discernment can become the wrong covenant. So I worked in the hidden places. You have felt it in strange ways. A restlessness around people that once felt right. A strange disinterest in things you used to chase. A heavier burden on anything fake. A growing intolerance for surface-level answers. That was me. I was changing your appetite. I was teaching your spirit to reject what once soothed you but could not sustain you. I was making you less impressed by charisma and more sensitive to character. I was teaching you that peace matters more than potential. I know you did not always appreciate that. Sometimes you thought you were becoming too picky, too cautious, too guarded. But what if I was healing you? What if the very thing you called being difficult was actually wisdom being restored? What if you were finally learning that your life is too precious to hand over to uncertainty dressed as romance? The truth is, the delay protected you from being attached to someone before you had clarity. The delay protected you from making vows in the heat of loneliness. The delay protected you from settling into a relationship that would have required you to betray yourself. The delay protected your future children, your time, your finances, your emotional energy, your spiritual peace. The delay was never empty. It was full of my mercy. I want to speak directly into the modern pain you carry because I know your world is noisy. Your phone lights up all day, but none of that noise can answer the question in your heart. You can scroll through lives that seem happier than yours, watch couples, weddings, soft launches, engagement rings, and carefully filtered love stories, and still go to bed alone with your real questions. I know the way social media can make you feel behind in your own life. I know how comparison can steal your joy and make your season feel like failure. But hear me, child. What you see online is not the whole story, and what is hidden in your life is not proof that you are behind. Sometimes I let you walk through a quieter season so I can do deeper work. Sometimes I hide the miracle until the roots are strong enough. Sometimes I keep you out of the spotlight until your heart no longer needs the spotlight to feel valuable. That is not abandonment. That is training. And I need to pause here with you for a moment, because I know some of you have tears in your eyes right now. Do not rush past them. Do not shame them. Let them fall if they need to. There is healing in honest grief. There is healing when you stop pretending you are fine. There is healing when you admit, Lord, I was scared. I was lonely. I was tired. I was trying to make something work because I did not know how to face another empty space. I am not offended by your honesty. I am honored by it. I am near to the brokenhearted. I collect every tear. I count the ones no one else sees. You are not just waiting for love. You are recovering from disappointment. And recovery takes time. It takes gentleness. It takes truth. It takes the kind of preparation that strengthens your spirit before your next yes. Some of you needed a season where the wrong person could no longer speak loud enough to override my voice. Some of you needed to be brought to the end of your trying so you could finally hear me clearly. Some of you needed the plans to fall apart because you were building on emotion instead of my peace. This is why I allowed the interruption. This is why I let the relationship feel unstable. This is why I let the signs go quiet. This is why I let you wait long enough to ask whether what you wanted was truly from me. If I had answered every anxious demand instantly, you might have settled for less than what I intended. But I have been patient, and my patience is not weakness. It is strategic mercy. There are some of you who were not only dealing with one person, but with a whole pattern. The pattern of chasing unavailable people. The pattern of overgiving to earn love. The pattern of making excuses because you were afraid of being alone. The pattern of measuring your worth by whether someone stayed. The pattern of believing that if you loved enough, prayed enough, waited enough, explained enough, you could transform a confused person into a faithful one. My child, love is powerful, but it is not magic. Love cannot fix what truth must confront. Love cannot replace repentance. Love cannot repair what the other person refuses to acknowledge. So when I bring the truth to light, do not use it to condemn yourself. Use it to finally see the pattern. Because what I reveal in one relationship often explains several. What you thought was random may have been repetitive for a reason. The same type of heartbreak, the same kind of inconsistency, the same ache after every almost relationship, the same disappointment after every surge of hope. That repetition was trying to teach you something. And now you are ready to learn it. My child, the turning point has come because you are no longer the same person who first started praying for this. You are more aware now. More tired, yes, but also more alert. More tender, yes, but also more willing to tell the truth. More wounded, perhaps, but also more receptive to wisdom. And that means I can reveal things you were not ready to carry before. What felt like delay was preparation. What felt like isolation was refinement. What felt like being overlooked was actually being kept. I was keeping you from a connection that would have cost more than you realized. I was keeping you from a promise that could not hold. I was keeping you from another cycle of hope and heartbreak that would have deepened your wounds instead of healing them. And some of you, my beloved, have been asking whether this means you were wrong to hope at all. No, hope was never your enemy. Misplaced hope was. Hope in me is never wasted. Hope in a person who has not been revealed clearly can be painful, but even that pain can become wisdom when you let me teach you through it. I am not asking you to stop hoping. I am asking you to hope where I am speaking, where I am moving, where I am leading. So take one slow breath with me. Do you feel it? The ground under your feet has not vanished. Your whole life is not collapsing. Only the illusion is. Only the thing that could not survive truth is shaking. And if it is shaking, that means it was never as stable as you needed it to be. Better that it fall now than after vows, after merging, after more damage. Better that I expose it now while your heart is still in my hands. There is more ahead, my child. More clarity, more exposure, more mercy. But first I need you to accept this turning point. The waiting was not punishment. The pause was not rejection. The silence was not me walking away. It was preparation. And now that you can see that, you are finally beginning to understand why I had to delay what you thought you were ready for. My child, now that you see the delay for what it truly was, I need to take you one step deeper. Because understanding the season is good, but it is not enough if your heart still trembles every time the old fear rises again. I do not want you only informed. I want you anchored. I do not want you merely relieved for a moment. I want you settled in the truth that I am faithful, that I am near, and that I will not let deception have the final word over your life. I am speaking promises over you now, not as wishful thinking, but as the living word that stands forever. I know what people said to you. I know the names they gave you. I know the labels they placed on your waiting, your brokenness, your singleness, your grief. But I am not calling you what pain called you. I am calling you chosen. I am calling you kept. I am calling you protected. I am calling you restored. My grace is sufficient for you, I said, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. My child, if you have felt weak, you are not disqualified. You are the very place where my power can be seen. You do not have to pretend you are stronger than you are. You only have to come to me honestly. My strength meets you at the place of surrender, not performance. The word says that I am a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. That means I do not require you to see the whole road before you take the next step. It means I guide you enough for today, enough for this breath, enough for the yes I am asking from you right now. So stop punishing yourself for not knowing everything. I never asked you to know everything. I asked you to trust the one who does. And I know you have had seasons where trust felt costly. I know there were moments when you said, Lord, I trusted before and it hurt. I know. But hear me, beloved, trust is not foolish when it is placed in the right hands. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. That is not a command meant to burden you. It is a rescue from having to carry what you were never designed to carry. Your understanding is limited. My wisdom is not. Your sight is partial. Mine is complete. What looks like setback to you may be my redirection. What looks like loss may be my mercy pulling you away from danger. I want you to remember something else I promised. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. The weapon may form. The lie may be spoken. The counterfeit may appear. The betrayal may surface. But it will not prosper. It will not have the final authority over your destiny. It will not cancel what I have spoken. It will not destroy the plan I have anchored in my own purpose. You may feel the blow, but you will not be broken beyond repair. You will not be abandoned in the aftermath. I will defend your name, your peace, your future, and your heart. Some of you need that promise applied to the hidden relationship that was not what it seemed. Some of you need it applied to the person who made vows with their mouth and contradicted them with their life. Some of you need it applied to the lies you were told, the manipulation you were subjected to, the confusion that tried to cloud your mind. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Not the weapon of gaslighting. Not the weapon of emotional abuse. Not the weapon of false hope. Not the weapon of a relationship built on secrecy. Not the weapon of spiritual counterfeit. And I am also speaking this over your mind. God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. That peace is not far from you. It is not reserved for someone else. It is not something you have to earn by suffering longer. It is mine to give, and I am giving it to you now. Peace is not the absence of a battle. Peace is the presence of my rule in the middle of it. So even while truth is exposed, even while you grieve, even while you let go, I can steady your soul. Beloved, the Bible says that I will make all things work together for good for those who love me and are called according to my purpose. Not all things are good. Some things were cruel. Some things were sinful. Some things were intended to wound you. But I am able to work through even that. I am able to redeem what was ugly. I am able to weave wisdom through heartbreak. I am able to turn your tears into discernment, your delay into depth, your confusion into clarity, your pain into a testimony that will help others recognize the same traps before they fall into them. I know there are still questions in you. I know there are still moments when you ask, was any of it real? Some of it may have been real in feeling, but not real in foundation. And that is exactly why it could not last. Feelings are not enough to carry a covenant. Chemistry is not enough to carry a covenant. Potential is not enough. A future spoken in sweetness is not enough. My child, a covenant requires truth, character, humility, and my hand upon it. If those are missing, the structure cannot stand. So I am declaring over you now that I will give you discernment that is sharpened, not shaken. The word says if you lack wisdom, ask, and I will give it generously. That means you do not have to live confused. You do not have to keep second-guessing yourself. You do not have to keep ignoring the quiet warning in your spirit. I am teaching you how to recognize what is from me and what only looks beautiful from a distance. Some of you have asked, how will I know next time? And I am telling you, you will know by the peace, by the fruit, by the honesty, by the consistency, by the way the person's life matches their words. You will know because I will no longer let you be satisfied with crumbs when I am preparing a table. You will know because your spirit will not have to force itself to believe. It will rest. It will settle. It will breathe. And I need to say something else before the end of this message. There is a turning that is about to happen in the place you least expected. But before it does, I need to ask you a question that will reveal whether you are ready to receive what is real. When the truth arrives, will you still choose peace over fantasy? My child, I ask because fantasy can feel safer than truth at first. Fantasy lets you keep the hope without the hard facts. Fantasy lets you imagine the version of love that never asks you to grieve. But truth is what sets you free. Truth is what ends the cycle. Truth is what makes room for the relationship, the purpose, the provision, and the timing I actually intended. So now I am speaking to the things that have tried to overwhelm you. The financial pressure. I see it. The sleepless nights. I see them. The fear after the layoff, the job transfer, the business uncertainty, the bills that kept coming, the insurance that made you anxious, the empty calendar after the divorce, the lonely meals, the medical appointments, the family burdens, the betrayal that made you question whether you can trust anyone again. I see all of it, and I am not standing far off from you. I am near. I am in the room. I am in the car. I am in the kitchen. I am in the hospital hallway. I am in the quiet after the argument. I am in the grief that no one else knows how to touch. The Psalm says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." That is not poetry only. That is reality. I am close to you when your chest feels tight, when your thoughts spiral at 2 a.m., when you are tempted to call the wrong person just to hear a voice, when you are tempted to settle because solitude feels unbearable. I am close to you then. I am closer than the fear, closer than the ache, closer than the doubt. And if you have fallen into any shame because of what you believed, what you ignored, what you repeated, listen carefully. There is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. I am not bringing this truth to crush you. I am bringing it to heal you. Condemnation says, hide. Conviction says, come into the light. Condemnation says, you are foolish. Conviction says, you are loved enough to learn. Condemnation says, you are too far gone. Conviction says, I am here to restore you. My child, I am restoring your confidence, but not the kind that leans on self. I am restoring holy confidence, the kind that knows I will lead you, the kind that knows you can leave what is false, the kind that knows you do not have to chase what does, not choose you clearly, the kind that can say no without guilt, yes without fear, and wait without panic. I am also restoring your voice. For too long, fear has made you quiet. Fear has made you agreeable. Fear has made you swallow warnings. Fear has made you over-explain. But I did not give you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. A sound mind does not mean you will never feel shaken. It means you can return to steadiness because my spirit is in you. It means you can think clearly even after heartbreak. It means you can choose wisely even after disappointment. And now, beloved, I want to cover your future with one more promise. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. That means I am not halfway through with you. I am not leaving the work unfinished. I am not stopping when the path gets complicated. I am not giving up because your journey has taken longer than you expected. I am faithful to complete what I started. The relationship I intend, the calling I have placed on your life, the healing I am working in you, the clarity I am bringing to your steps, none of it is abandoned. Some of you have been wondering if this exposure means you will end up alone. No, my child. It means you will not end up deceived. There is a difference. Being alone in a season can be painful, but being bound to the wrong thing is far more costly. I am not calling you into emptiness. I am calling you into truth. I am not taking love away from you. I am cleansing love of everything counterfeit, manipulative, and unstable so that what remains is pure. And if this exposure has already started happening in your life, do not rush to explain it away. Do not let guilt talk you into returning to what I have revealed. Some of you are about to get a phone call, a message, a confession, a detail, a pattern, a revelation that changes how you see everything. Stay calm. Stay prayerful. Stay humble. I will give you what you need in the moment. You do not need to panic. You do not need to perform. You do not need to prove yourself. You need to remain with me. Because once truth is exposed, there is a temptation to either collapse into grief or sprint into the next thing. I am warning you against both extremes. Grieve honestly, yes. Heal carefully, yes. But do not fill the space too quickly. Let me be the comfort in the void. Let me be the one who teaches you what healthy attachment looks like. Let me be the one who shows you how to receive without losing yourself. And now, my beloved, I am going to pray over you. Receive these words as if I am standing right there beside you, because I am. Father, I thank you for this precious one watching right now, the one whose heart has been bruised, stretched, misunderstood, and wearied by the long road of waiting. I thank you for every tear they have cried in secret. Every night they whispered their fear into the darkness. Every morning they rose again, even though they felt like they had nothing left. I thank you because you have not overlooked them for one single second. You have seen what broke them. You have seen what made them suspicious, what made them lonely, what made them vulnerable to false promises and unfinished stories. And now, Lord, I ask that you wrap them in the certainty of your presence. Father, in the name of Jesus, let wisdom come like light into the corners of their mind. Where confusion has lingered, bring clarity. Where self-doubt has grown roots, bring truth. Where fear has been making decisions, restore a sound mind. Teach them to hear your voice above the noise, above the memory, above the ache, above the opinions of other people. Let them not be swayed by charm without character, by passion without peace, by words without fruit. Give them discernment that is clean, steady, and anchored in you. Lord Jesus, protect their heart. Protect it from returning to what you have already exposed. Protect it from nostalgia that lies. Protect it from the temptation to romanticize what was actually unsafe. Protect it from the ache that wants to run back to familiar pain just because it feels easier than stepping into the unknown. Guard them from manipulation. Guard them from spiritual confusion. Guard them from counterfeit love, counterfeit comfort, counterfeit connections, and counterfeit hope. Father, I pray over every place in their life that has been touched by betrayal. If they were lied to, heal that wound. If they were cheated on, heal that wound. If they were abandoned after giving their whole heart, heal that wound. If they were used, overlooked, mocked, or made to feel foolish, heal that wound. Let shame dissolve now in the presence of your mercy. Let accusation lose its grip. Let the voice that says, "You should have known better," be silenced by the stronger truth that says, "My child, I will teach you and keep you." Lord, I ask for courage. Courage to let go. Courage to wait. Courage to speak the truth. Courage to end what needs to end. Courage to stop forcing open doors that you have closed. Courage to believe that your no is protection, not punishment. Courage to say, "I trust you even when I do not understand you." Courage to be still when panic wants to move them. Courage to heal slowly instead of rushing into another cycle. Father, I pray for every financial burden weighing on this one. You know the bills, the deadlines, the job uncertainty, the retirement concerns, the medical expenses, the hidden stress they have not shared because they did not want to seem weak. Open doors that no man can shut. Provide work, wisdom, favor, and stability. Where they have felt desperate, give them provision. Where they have felt behind, give them peace. Where they have been tempted to make choices from fear, give them patience. Teach them that you are Jehovah Jireh, their provider, and that their future does not depend on panic. Lord Jesus, for the one walking through divorce, separation, family rupture, or the grief of a relationship ending, I ask for tender healing. Hold the pieces that feel shattered. Restore dignity. Restore identity. Restore hope without rushing the process. Let them know they are not rejected by heaven because a human covenant broke. Let them see that you can rebuild what life has torn down. Let them not confuse being alone for being unloved. Let them feel your companionship in the quiet places. Father, I also pray over the body. For the one dealing with illness, exhaustion, chronic pain, sleeplessness, anxiety attacks, or the heaviness that has settled into their physical frame, let your healing power move through them now. Bring relief. Bring wisdom for treatment. Bring rest to their mind and restoration to their body. Let this season of stress not consume them. Let hope return. Let strength return. Let sleep return. Let peace settle over their nervous system like a blanket from heaven. And Lord, I pray for the future you have written that no deception can erase. If you are preparing a real covenant for this beloved one, then let it come with honesty, stability, humility, and your unmistakable peace. Prepare both hearts, if that is your plan. Remove every false attachment that would interfere with what is clean. If someone has not been sent by you, let the connection weaken, unravel, and release. If someone is meant to remain, let truth be the foundation, not fear, not fantasy, not pressure, not loneliness. Let everything be done in order, in purity, and in your timing. Father, I pray that this one would not feel behind. I pray that they would not measure their life by the milestones of others. I pray that they would not look at social media and think they missed their moment. Remind them that you are not late. Remind them that your calendar is not broken. Remind them that the promise you gave them did not expire. Remind them that hidden seasons often produce the deepest fruit. Remind them that you make everything beautiful in its time. Jesus, When fear rises tonight, be close. When the house feels too quiet, be close. When they wake up at 3 a.m. and their thoughts start spiraling, be close. When the memory of what they lost tries to pull them under, be close. When the phone stays silent and loneliness tries to speak louder than truth, be close. When they are tempted to settle, be close. When they are tempted to check one more message, stalk one more profile, replay one more conversation, be close. Be their steadying presence. Be the shepherd who leads them beside still waters. Be the one who restores their soul. And Father, I pray that hidden things continue to come into the light in your perfect way, not to terrorize them, but to free them. Expose what needs exposing. Reveal what needs revealing. Bring truth into relationships, motives, agreements, and conversations. Let deceit lose its cover. Let the mask fall away. Let what is real remain and what is false dissolve. And through it all, protect this heart from becoming bitter. Let them become wiser, not harder. Stronger, not suspicious of everything. Softer toward you, but sharper in discernment. Lord Jesus, I ask that you bless their next yes. Let it be a clean yes. Let it not come from pressure. Let it not come from loneliness. Let it not come from trying to prove something to anyone. Let it come from peace, from clarity, from alignment with heaven. Teach them how to wait for what is worth waiting for. Teach them how to discern the difference between divine timing and emotional urgency. Teach them how to listen when you say, stop. Teach them how to move when you say, now. Father, I thank you that this child is not forgotten. I thank you that they are not cursed. I thank you that this is not the end of their story. I thank you that the delay was preparation. I thank you that the exposure is mercy. I thank you that the waiting was not wasted. I thank you that every lonely night can become a sanctuary where you speak. I thank you that the same God who carried Joseph, Job, David, and Moses will carry them too. And now, Lord, seal this word deep in their spirit. Let it not be stolen by doubt an hour from now, a day from now, a week from now. Let it rise again when they need it most. Let it comfort them when the ache returns. Let it remind them that you see, you know, you guide, you protect, and you complete what you begin. Let the truth set them free in the deepest places of their soul. My beloved, breathe now. You are covered. You are seen. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. I am with you in the exposure, with you in the healing, with you in the waiting, and with you in the breakthrough. What was hidden is coming into the light, and what is real will remain. Go in peace, and keep your heart open to the truth.